While going live, so I'll be sharing your live view from my Facebook pages also.
Perfect. Well, we
So
are live right now. So, good afternoon, everyone. Good vibes. Isabelle here, and today I'm joined by Ahmad. So, let me give you a bit of what we are going to talk about today. As you saw in the post, we are here to talk about quality of education, especially in the digital era. How do you choose the right online course to attend? How do you choose the right webinar or virtual conference? Virtual conferences and webinars have been expanding so much during the past few years, and especially right now during the few months of lockdown that everyone was in. So the demand for more online content increased and went through the roof. And at the same time, the offers increase. Okay, you have universities, you have schools, you have nonprofit organizations repurposing their activities and going live, going online to share their products, share their services and their knowledge. So without further ado, let's start the conference today. I'm very excited. It's been a long time since I seen Ahmad in person. The reason why we are both of us talking together about this subject and kind of like trying to come up with some tips for you to know which seminar or which webinar you have to choose an online course is because Ahmad and I, we know each other for a couple of years ago. We met at an international conference at the United Nations where Ahmad was representing Pakistan. So he was representing his country at the United Nations at an amazing Youth for Human Rights International Human Rights Summit, which takes place every year, brings more than 500 advocates and leaders from all around the world. So that's where Ahmad and I, we know each other from. And giving that, I want to take a brief moment. A lot of you know about me. I'm the founder of U.S. Institute of Diplomacy and Human Rights. But Ahmad, it's an incredible youth leader. And he's currently serving as the president of MAPS, which is a youth-led organization that has members all over the world. I think you guys are in the tens of thousands right now, correct? And Ahmad, over the past months, together with MAPS and their youth team, went around and spread joy and spread happiness for those families who were hit very hard by the lockdown. And those families, they needed assistance, in especially food assistance. So Ahmad and the team at MAPS went together and provided these people with what they needed to get through this tough months that, we are soon getting over them. And besides that, on a positive note, they created an amazing online campaign where they encourage youth to join, and like young adults or people all across the world, to be more positive about the lockdown and share kind of like mentoring, coaching, because that's what MAPS is about. So without further ado, I'm so happy to have you here with me, Ahmad. I know it's a bit late there, but I see you're still, bright and shine at this hour. So I'm very happy you're here. Let's dig into the topic. Wow. What do you think about the quality of education in today's society and in the world, especially on the digital platforms?
Well, Isabel, thank you so much for inviting me, and it's really pleasant to see you and recalling all the memories we had in New York and obviously in United Nations. So I think ever since then, a lot of time has been spent, and a lot of events, campaigns, conferences has been taking place over the world. While like talking about quality education, and if I don't talk about the difference between quality education in developing countries and in developed countries, it will be unjustful. So I'll just draw a comparison over the facts and figures. Like ever since we have been hit by COVID-19 since like January 2020, when we observe and when we see that the Western world or Western countries, or you can say that developed countries, they were all set to, jump up from face-to-face interaction to online education, like in a couple of days. And as they have been doing this for like years, they have been practicing online educations like for, I guess, what I heard of is like more than 10 years. So a comparison to, or on the contrary to, like developing countries, I don't call the names of developing countries because I'll just not discriminate any other countries. So I'll just, call the developing countries. What they did actually, they just shut down the operations, like uh, big universities, a nominal name. I can't even, describe them here, but they just shut it down because they didn't have any clue what it's gonna be like, and what's going on onto the world. They thought like COVID-19 is an infectious disease and it will pass on like after a few weeks or few months and they will be back. But ever since it's been like 3 months, and now they have realized that like they have realized that they have to convert to online education. They just can't, put the full stop to face interaction. They just have to, cope up with the new trends in technological advancement, like the Western world is doing. And now the government is, taking this matter seriously. And, now after 3 or 4 months, they have been, planning to implement policies on online education after 3 months. But I have seen that in Western, countries or developed countries, they might have, completed their semester in the past 3 or 4 months, while we were, just locked down in our own homes, doing nothing except like watching seasons or, learning some online courses.
Yes, that's true. That's true. And I don't know about you, but like daily, I'm getting so many invites of attending different like webinars, conferences, and in so many different languages. And you as the president of MAPS, myself as the founder of US Institute, we already have a lot of stuff to do, even if we are in lockdown, even if we are working from home. However, we still take the time to attend different webinars and conferences online, and even take online courses to develop ourselves, because how can we pose as the leaders of nonprofit organizations if we don't invest our own time and in our own knowledge to be able to share with others? So that's very, very important tips for the audience today to know. You have to first invest in yourself to basically get the message across. And getting to the topic today, basically getting all these invitations daily, like tell me how do you exactly choose which one is the right one? Because I'm getting sometimes I'm getting frustrated or confused. Hey, like I have 10 webinars at the same time. I also need to make sure my volunteers across the world are okay, and I'm being in calm with my team. And I'm sure it's the same thing for you, but what can you tell us, like
Yeah,
how?
yeah, I'll share my experience. Like, can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll share my experience when this lockdown happened, and when we were hit by COVID-19. Everyone was so proactive, so active, like they were signing up to a couple of courses at the same time. I've known my friends which were doing the same, like because they were obviously free courses, so nobody was doing some research about that, what type of content is being delivered, and what is the quality of the instructor, and what is the research being done by that instructor in that particular kind of topic. But like they didn't even do that. They just came up to that link and they just sign up because it was obviously free. So free, the word free actually attracts that. So they didn't research about any particular course and sign up. And when that when we do that, like you will lose interest into the topic after a few days because it's free, obviously. Okay, you didn't have like paid anything. It was your interest, and most of the people signing up for that online courses, or that online conference is just for the sake of a certificate. Let me tell you that it's a bit harsh reality. Everybody just want to put that certificate into their social media profile, and they just want to bang about it that yeah, I have did it. But I personally believe that if I am to join any conference, if I am to join any online course or anything, even if spiritual, even if face to face, I just dig deep well what the organization is capable of, which is offering that course. What are their research? What are their prerequisites? What they have done in this field? Then I will learn about it. It's like an example. See, if you want to buy a cell phone, like in a market, what will you do first of all? You'll just Google about it, and then you will just read the reviews about the manufacturer. What car type of company is it, and what are the reviews? You'll get the market values about them. Then you will
Exactly.
pay for that mobile phone, and then you'll pay for that particular product you're actually purchasing. So likewise, I said that it's relatable to the online education. If you are, spending your time like 4 to 5 hours a day to a course, to any course, to any like course or any online conferences, you should dig like deep well, and we should adopt that particular course, which actually, you know, uh, benefits us in like our professional and personal life.
Mhm. Exactly, exactly. I totally agree with you. That's what I'm looking for also when I'm trying or when I'm, pressing the button there. I'm interested or I'm going to a webinar or a conference. And in terms of, right now there are two types. There are free courses or free webinars and paid ones. And how can we choose between these two? And I honestly can tell you that I have attended so many free ones and I've delivered so many free seminars that I can't even remember. And most of them had value in them. So it's not only about getting into a paid or a free webinar, is mostly looking at what just Ahmad said, looking at who are the speakers, who are the instructors, what is the organization behind the institution that is organizing such webinar, or even the individual, like here, I'm right now we are live on my YouTube channel and my Facebook profile, as well on the Facebook pages that Ahmad and we own. So we are here to just have a conversation, an honest conversation. So please, if you have questions or you want us to touch a specific topic within the topic of quality of education, you can just share your comments here. We are able to see them and we are going to try to answer them. And getting next to my thoughts today is what do we do about online courses in specific? I know like universities right now are struggling, as you said, because they are not, some of them, they are not able, they don't have the capacities, the abilities to take their businesses online because it costs money. You to invest in an online e-learning platform. I know you work also in cybersecurity and IT, or a student at electrical engineering, so you know more about the subject than I do. I'm sure about that. And how 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 can you, as a university, if you don't, or even an organization, let's not just talk about universities, if you don't have the necessary resources, but you have knowledge to share with your students, what would you recommend?
Yeah, it's a very good question. But likewise, I said that I'll not jump up to, teaching a course which I couldn't even understand. I have the knowledge. Okay, I knew about that. I will definitely go into trainings and webinars instead of going for online courses, because online courses actually takes a lot of time to research and then compile the content which you are going to deliver to your students. So rather than like being opted for a long term commitment for a course which is gonna taking place in like in 3 to 4 weeks, I'll definitely prefer over trainings and the webinars, which should not more not last than like a day or a 2 day training. That's what we have done the previous month actually. we started to initiate online courses on different topics, including human rights also. But then we suddenly remembered that people just sign off, when they found out a link. Okay, they don't follow up after they sign up for an online course which is absolutely free of cost. They just do it for the sake of a email confirmation, or they just do it for the sake of a certificate. When they get that, they don't even bother to go back and apply those things as an experience which they learned from that particular course. So I think that the short term learning, which have special content, that can be beneficial for both the instructor and the student as well. That's what we have done. Like in the previous month, I'll share an example with you. Maps Art Championship is an annual flagship event of Maps, which we used to organize on a road full of it's a road show actually. We highlight social issues through paintings on the walls of different city. Okay, it's a very artistical event. We gather students from schools, colleges, and universities, and we engage them in a very positive activity. Like, it's a flagship event, and it does occur every year. But since we were hit by COVID-19, and my team came up with an idea that we should just log down in our rooms and do nothing. We should do something artistic. What we have done, we added some more categories. We like added calligraphy in that, along with paintings, calligraphy, photography. Then there is a graphic designing competition, and there were two more themes also. So what we have done, we gathered applications online, and you will be blown out by the ideas. Like, we have gathered more than 2,000 applications in like 20 days.
Wow,
And what? Yeah, and now the spice adds up like that. We actually hired some judges to pick up the top five candidates, and then we went on to the voting process of those five candidates. Like, they can the candidates who were top handpicked by the judges, they can get votes from their fans, followers, or their friends. And after a certain time, through this, we directly and indirectly hit around 60 to 70,000 young people through our social media pages, and the reaches and the Facebook engagement reach were like more than 100K per week. And everybody was more focused on getting the votes and getting the masterpiece win. And that actually did. And now we are planning to organize a small ceremony for them. I'm just waiting for the SOPs to be more loosen up in terms of COVID-19, so we can pay them back well. So that's what we did actually. We organized short-term events, short-term conferences, and online webinars, so the people can get to the point at a very short time, instead of being committed with an online course, or even a university for 3 to 4 months, which they don't even follow up after a certain time.
Definitely. No, I love that. I think that's a very, very good advice for the organizations looking to, expand their activities and be more visible online and build a brand online. I too, choose that path. And I'm posting very often on my social media platforms, on my YouTube channel, so that people get more engaged with the works that I do, and at the same time get familiar with. And I think you touch a very sensitive point over there, and I want to bring that up because you said at one point that it's very, very important in when you do an online course, first you have to put in time to do the specific research, and then the instructor and the students need to put time so that they engage with one another, because it's not only about that certificate at the end. It's not only about that email confirmation you're talking about. It's more than that. It's what you are like. You start at someone and you get out of the door after you get that knowledge as somebody else, not necessarily super transformed, but you now have another skill under your belt. That was the reason why actually I chose to do, under the umbrella of the U.S. Institute of Diplomacy and Human Rights, the online course on business etiquette, because First, it's just simply started as a research for myself because I needed to use this in my job as a cultural diplomat and in my human rights activities to be able to know how to represent myself and have a professional image. And when I started digging out there online, I realized first there is no much of content on that, and second, when there is content, there is a big confusion because a lot of people confuse
Right.
business etiquette or diplomacy and protocol with table banners and how to set the table, how do you eat with the correct fork,
Exactly.
where do you put the napkin. I mean, without disconsidering the topic, it's important to know how when you sit at the table. But right now, look at us, we don't sit at the table, we are engaging in online conversations, so you have to use etiquette skills there. So that was kind of like the behind, like I put the research into an
Yeah.
online just because I felt there is a need out there. So that brings
Uh,
me to another tips, let's say tips that I want to tell the audience is when you are trying to engage in a course or like attend a course, enroll in a course, online course, you have to look, besides looking at the instructor and the organization behind it, look at the topic. Is there a topic that you've heard already? Let's talk about, like, I don't know, digital marketing. There are so many courses out there on digital marketing. How do you choose the
right.
right one? So if it's a topic that you've not hear about it, just dig into, look at the description. So here's my advice to you. Don't look necessarily at the title of that webinar or online course. Look at the description. What value is that course or webinar or conference is going to bring to you as an individual so that it's worth your time? That's my, that's one thing that I totally look at after I'm looking who are the speakers of the conference or who are the instructors of the course. I look about the description to see, here's our mission, this is the goal, this is what we are going to teach you today, and at the end of today's lesson or today's webinar, you will be able to have this and this and this and this skill.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know what? I would like to tell audience that you have just shared some posters regarding the diplomacy etiquettes and how to react with ambassadors and diplomatic officials. One of the poster was about sitting with an diplomat. There was pointing out you shouldn't be sit with an ambassador right right beside of him. And I was actually shocked to see that the ambassador should be seated diagonally to the driver's seat. And I didn't knew about this because what we have been taught is like mostly the table manners and the greeting manners. There are more. There's more than that, and one should right come out of it and make content about it. And I'm just loving your the posters and the videos you're posting from your YouTube account, and it actually try to it actually educates people about the diplomacy etiquettes and conference etiquettes. That's what we were talking about the day we should do a webinar on the online. I guess you are actually planning to do one, right?
Yes, so I mean, we were talking about like let's do a webinar about like different topics because we have so many things we can talk about, and like for whoever is watching right now live and the recorded version, just so for you to know, Ahmad and I, we didn't drill, we didn't rehearse this presentation here. We just last night we came together and said we gotta do a webinar together about something. And this is what I've seen because so many of my followers on Instagram and Facebook have asked me, how when are you going to do a webinar? I say I don't know, because exactly as Ahmad said, I need to do the correct research before. So forgive us if we didn't do a lot of research, but we speak from experience, and that's why we are
Yeah,
bringing
exactly.
just because, as mentioned, Ahmad and I, we are social people. We go right now. We are in lockdown, but we go outside a lot. We meet with ambassadors. We meet with different officials, and it's a good point. It was very funny. I had so much engagement on that post because not a lot of people know, and it's not only about ambassadors
Yeah,
sit in the car. It's any official, or any, like if you work for a company, an executive as well, if you arrange to have, for example, an experience, like taking people from one place to another, even taking them to a restaurant from the place, from the location, the venue where you hold the webinar, you have to know these etiquette skills, because if you do it, I mean, it can take you to a different avenue. It's really helping you make a that good first lasting impression. So going further on our webinar here, or presentation, however we want to call it, I just want to hear more from you, Ahmad, on what exactly are you doing right now in lockdown, besides working from home and engaging a team of tens of thousands of people all over, and young advocates. How can you be active and positive? Talk to us more about your organization's online activities right now.
yeah. Actually, we had some plans for the year. Unfortunately, due to the COVID-19, we just dropped that, and we came up with some virtual events. The last month was of Ramadan 2020, and it's a month of blessings, and Muslims, we as Muslims fast. But there was a lockdown situation in all over the country, or even all over the world. So since the lockdowns was there, and the deserving people of our communities, which who are living around our homes and our workspaces, they don't have any access to proper food, and the things like that, which on which they can sustain actually. So what our team did, they just crowdfund. We actually made a crowdfunding campaign and on social media platform, Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn also. So we just raised around $1,000 online, and we helped around 80 families past month.
Wow.
We have given them free foods for their entire month, so they can fast well in the holy month of Ramadan. And we actually around, yeah, it was like 80 people. So now, with that being said, like, we have completed two projects in couple of 3 months, and now we are actually going forward with a new event in Pakistan. We actually wanted to organize this event in different universities, and on face to face. Obviously, it's actually called as Pakistan Changemakers Summit, and it
Wow.
actually, yeah, it encourages young people who have those startups who are socially helping someone else also, and social projects which are actually benefiting our community and our society, so they can pitch their project in front of our judges. And this event is going to be taking place in more than 100 universities in Pakistan, and each of them having a one winner team. Like, it will obviously, at the end, there will be more than 100 winners, or you can say 100 winning teams from Pakistan, and then there will be a huge event. I guess we were planning to host that event in Islamabad by the end of July or August, because the winner from Pakistan will travel to the Turkey in our international conference, which is going to take place in October or November. So since COVID has hit us bad, so we are planning to organize all those events which are supposed to take in Pakistan. We are planning to organize these events online and virtually, one by one, in different universities. Then we'll come up with just one mega final in all over the Pakistan that will be, take place online. And we'll just have one winning team from Pakistan, and the team will travel to us, with us, sorry, to Turkey. There is going to be an event in Turkey, inshallah, Islamabad, sorry, Istanbul, Turkey, and the event is going to be take place like around at the end of October or at the start of November. So they can pitch their project at our international events in Turkey, and they can have a chance to win like around $10,000.
Wow. Well, it's amazing what you guys are doing, and I'm so excited. I'm telling you, I'm sold already. I don't know if you catch that, what Ahmad just did, but let's go step by step and actually, why he made me want to participate into his event was first, he posted a big title, okay, Changemakers Summit. Oh, I so love that, okay? But before that, started talking more about the organization maps, what they are doing, how they are engaging, how they are helping people around. Okay, so we have the title, we have who is behind it, and then we are having who is going to be in the summit and how big the summit is going to be. So a bit more about that description of the summit. So it totally, it's a formula. It's an easy formula. So if you follow that formula, you not only are able to attend in any webinar exactly on the topic and it's worth your time, but you also can do a webinars yourself following that formula. I so love you. See, that's why I'm doing this video with Ahmad, because it's natural. It comes natural for both of us to talk about this topic, and we don't need any preparations about it. But thanks God it's recorded, so we'll put some
Yeah.
steps in the description so that the audience can know exactly what we talk here in this episode.
Yeah, actually, maps always have worked with the young people, and we have always, targeted youth around the Pakistan. The society is registered at the area, which is South Punjab of Pakistan. It is, considered to be a very neglected area. The
Yeah.
society was registered it was a society founded by our chairman Kamran Zafar and Muhammad Ahmad. You know Muhammad Ahmad very well. So they just founded that society like back in 2012, which aims it was to encourage young people to get the admission in different universities, because we are living like in the middle of Pakistan, but where we are located right now. So the universities which a student has to travel to attend to universities was around like 800 kilometers or like 1,000 kilometers from our hometown. So when it was time for a student to get enrolled in a university, he had to travel like thousands of miles all over the country just to looking out some for information on how to get admission in universities, because we didn't have any universities at that time in our city. So the guys came up with an idea, and they just made team in different universities, and they just hosted a big educational expo in our city actually, and they invited all the universities into our city, so that so that a student shouldn't have to travel to thousands of miles all over the country. So we had facilitated, and that educational expos we have actually organized three times. The last one was in 2019. We organized it, and we had facilitated more than 10,000 people in a single expo. So it means that 10,000 students came to our educational expo. They didn't have to travel to different cities, wandering and taking admissions information of different universities. They just had to come to, a hall, and they just had some very top-notch universities from all over the Pakistan, and they had free information from that different universities which they want to, get admission in that. So basically, it was that idea which led us to, install some more projects. The last project which we have done in last year, we actually founded a digital street school around 40 kilometers of the city. It was a village, and 90% of the students we got enrolled into the schools were from minority. Actually, they were non-Muslims, but our team went there. It was a project of like of like 3 months we spent there, and our team used to go to that village daily, and we started off with ethical trainings with the students, because those students had never been to any school yet, but we were actually trying to motivate them to get enrolled into any school. So what our team did, they used some digital equipment, tablets, laptops, and projectors. We use the digital equipment to motivate students that what school is look like, because they had some misconception about the school, that if they go to school, the teachers will punish them, they will be discriminated and they will be treated equally because they were, as I said, that they belong to a minority group. So what we did is our team went to that village. We host some trainings, some pre lectures with the students, with the children, which we were planning to enroll them into the school. They spent like 3 months with like 70 children, and at the end of 3 months, we actually enrolled 48 students, 48 children into a nearby school. And now it's been a year. They have been studying very well. Our team, regularly checks on them, keep checking on them because we just don't want to enroll them. We just want to follow what we have done and what are the progress being made by those students. And if they have still any issues, we help them. We were actually planning to enroll the second batch of digital street school, like 50 more students into a school. But since COVID-19, we couldn't do that. But we are very ambitious right now, and we're planning that as the thing loosens up, we should, gather or identify one more village, and we will, obviously enroll 50 plus students into any school.
Wow, that's fantastic, and I so appreciate all the works you guys do at Maps. That's why I would love to launch the idea of maybe collaborating. I don't know if you're aware, but U.S. Institute of Diplomacy and Human Rights. So us as an nonprofit organization, our whole purpose and mission is to advance education. So we just launched two campaigns. One is called Let Her Lead campaign, which basically what we are going to do, we are going to raise money for giving girls, high school girls, an education, especially in countries like Pakistan, to provide them with the education that they deserve because they are coming from, they have a family with financial struggle, so they
Yeah,
deserve
exactly.
education. So that's one program, and the other one is for children education, like the fund for children, to help them, like the children you help to enroll in school so that they have the right to education. So you touched 2 points there that I want to bring up and emphasize. One was, the right to education, especially in countries that are in development or in countries that are very, very big, so that the need is bigger, and the quality, the right to quality of education. And I know I posted an episode about that a while ago. Just scroll through my feed and you'll be able to see that. So the right to education promoted by the Universal Declaration of Human Rights has two sides of it. One is having the right to go and afford an education and be able to be enrolled in school without being discriminated against. And the other one is quality education. So if you go to school, that school needs to provide you with the necessary education so that you come up as a bright individual. So that brings us to basically the conclusion of our episode here today, and
Yeah.
I wanted to basically end up on a positive note, saying that we are right now doing history. I just watched the launching of the rocket and safe docking into space, and an amazing
Yeah.
achievement that happened.
Yeah, it was actually.
Both you and I, we were very little when last time that happened, so it's very amazing to see how people through research and education are able to make history. So I think that kind of like
Yeah.
gets into topic today, and congratulations to the entire teams that worked together on this amazing project. And I wanted to kind of like go over exactly what we discussed in today's episode, and that means we talked about how do you choose the right webinar, and we said, both Ahmad and I, that although there are so many opportunities over there to engage in different webinars and attend, even free or paid, it doesn't matter. You have to look at certain things, which is the topic of that webinar. It's like the title and the organization behind it. That's very important, along with the description. Who are the keynote speakers? What are the exact topics that you are going to go over, and what skills are you going to achieve in the end? And the second topic we talked today was how do you choose the right online course? And because right now universities, schools, nonprofit organizations go online and try different platforms, talk about we don't have to have a specific platform. Even if you don't have money as an organization to invest into an e-learning platform, from an IT perspective, you can be out there and teach your knowledge to the audience via social media, via YouTube channels, and different events that you can now take them from the real, live in person, and transmit them and do trainings online, basically. And again, here you have to look for the instructor. Who is the instructor? Is the instructor really a person who is an expert in that field? Because as Ahmad was mentioning, for the online courses, it takes a bit more work than just a webinar to put into. And it's not like the student will only have to engage or enroll for that certificate at the end, which is important. It's okay to have it, but you also need to have the skills and make sure you get those skills and knowledge. Again, look at the description of that online course and look at the topic. Is that the topic that you've heard before? Is that a topic that already is being consumed all over the internet, or is it a new topic? Like we talk about my course on business etiquette, which, although not a new course, it brings up some good aspects that weren't tackled before by other people. So thank you so much, Ahmad. I know it's going to be late there soon, but thank you again for being with us today. I'm sure everyone enjoyed it. I'm very, very happy you took the time to be here. And in regards to the projects you were talking about, in my projects, I'm launching like an open invitation to collaborate. I think my organization and yours are on the same path, and we really believe in education as individual, because both you and I, we went to universities. We are educated individuals. We go to conferences and webinars to educate ourselves first, to be able to share with others our experience and knowledge and skills. So thank you again, Ahmad, for being here. We don't shake hands anymore. However, marhaba. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Look forward to working with you also. Thank you so much.
Thank you.